I'm Ria Bia.
I'm Ranella.
And I'm Dandada.
And this is I Survived 2020,
a podcast
And lifestyle brand.
dedicated to shining a light on stories of opportunity born out of adversity.
Recorded live at my pod studio in Pasadena, California. Keep us locked.
Okay. Welcome to another episode of I Survived 2020 podcast. I'm your host, Ria, and this is my lovely co-host,
Ranella.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling amazing, feeling positive, feeling energetic.
Yeah?
Happy to be alive.
You look beautiful. I'm loving this. I'm speaking sweatshirt that you
I
have
love
on.
yours.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
so
you.
cute. I love it. This is awesome. We look so cute. We'll have to swap.
Yeah,
Sometime.
we'll do
Yes.
some tradesies or something. I think we're about the same size.
Right.
You know, the last time we were here and you've been talking about all of the things that you've been cooking over the past year or so. What is
learning how to cook, learning yourself during the pandemic, starting to date again. Yeah,
How's that going for you?
I met someone from a cafe.
A cafe.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that cafe. You have to figure out how to, date these days because you cannot interact with anyone.
Right.
So a lot of people downloaded the dating apps again. So there's dating apps for cafes. We'll leave it at that. How about that?
I can kind of get what you're saying, but that's great. I mean, if it's
Yes.
working out for you, if you like it, I love it. How about that? I'm supportive.
Yes, absolutely. And you'll just teach me how to cook, how to be a great wife. Because God knows I have no clue. I'm just kidding. But so that's pretty much what's been going on. Like just focusing on myself, self-improvement, etc.
Yeah.
How about you being a married woman, a career woman,
Yeah.
and a mother during the pandemic?
It's a work in progress.
But
No,
you're still
everything
here.
is great. You know, being at home over the past year with my son's story, I'm going to be honest, it has been challenging, but at the same time, it's been like one of the most rewarding experiences
sure.
because it's something that you don't normally get, you know,
Right.
like to be able to stay home with him for a whole
Right, more
year
time.
at this age
Yes.
is like golden. So
It's a
although
blessing.
sometimes working from home and then taking care of a 2-year-old has its challenges, I'm grateful.
Yes, that you have your time. And also, I think with relationships, marriages, or whatnot, it enhances whatever issues you've had. Now you get the chance to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever time you're missing from each other, now you get the chance to really spend time with each other.
Right.
So I've heard people breaking up or getting closer, So
And then just, getting the opportunity to learn more about
Each
somebody
other.
because you're spending so much time. So
Right.
there's been different instances where like, maybe it's too much time spent. Whereas with other people, it's like, I'm really starting to learn you all
Right.
over again. So overall, it's been great. I can't
Right.
complain.
we're here. That's why.
I am especially excited about today's episode
Me
because we're
too.
here at the lovely Mod Pod Studios.
Yes.
Can't speak enough about how great this studio is. I'm so in love with it every time I step foot in here. But we're so lucky today
Yes,
to
absolutely.
have JD Cargill.
Give it up for JD.
Thank you. Wow, that was a nice introduction. I really
Who is
appreciate it.
The founder of Mod Pod Studios, and you're so many more things than that. Like, I did some digging on you.
Oh, boy.
I
Here we
did
go.
some digging, and I found that you have had quite an extensive career. You've been an entertainment reporter. You've been an entertainment producer. You have a little bit of acting on your resume.
Oh boy, you dug deep.
Wait,
You have actually.
Your
can we
fingernails.
show
You
You
that?
have a really great headshot. I will say that. I was like, this guy has some great hair
did
and
see
some
that
great
one.
teeth.
Right, I did see that.
But
All
yeah, we're
right.
so happy to have you here. We're actually
Thank
in
you.
your space, but we're inviting you to in your own space. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, hey, listen. One of the best things about owning a podcast studio in my basement is that I get to be on a lot of podcasts.
Right, there you
and
go.
including my own. Friends some and then some. Shout out, Mindy, Michelle, hi. Yay. So yeah, I love being a guest on your show. I love your show, and I love
Thank you.
I Survived 2020 and what it stands for.
Well, you are somebody who has survived 2020, and we like to look at you like this whole podcast
Came
would
about.
not have come about without you. So first of all, let me say thank you to you,
Yes.
and thank you for allowing us in your space and in your beautiful studio.
Well, you're
Thank
very,
you.
very welcome. Thank
Thank you.
you.
So lovely.
And thank
Shout
you
out.
for being
Thank
one of
you.
our very first shows that we record here regularly and for
Yes.
being part of the Mod Pod family.
Yeah,
Aw,
thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much. We are just so appreciative to be here, and we want to learn about you, your journey, what led to this point where we're in this studio. So tell me about like the early beginnings. How did this even come about? How
The
did
studio?
Mod Pod
Yes.
Studio come about?
Okay, good. Let me tell this story because it'll give me a good chance to to practice really remembering what the heck happened, because it's kind of a blur, you
Yeah.
know, like it
Wow.
all happened so fast. But basically, like a lot of people, 2020 delivered me with a 1-2 punch, right? Prior to this, and maybe coinciding with this still, if it comes back once movie theaters reopen, you know, for the last 7 years, my video production company has created ArcLight Stories. It's the original
Wow.
sort of interview celebrity and filmmaker interview series that's shown on the big screen at all the ArcLight cinemas around the country.
Nice.
Amazing.
ArcLight, sorry, ArcLight Cinemas. Yeah, that's right. It's been a minute. Sorry, ArcLight. We love our friends at ArcLight.
Right.
But I'm like, what was it? ArcLight Studios? No, ArcLight Cinemas. So you know, when the health crisis of 2020 landed on all of us, and you know, all of a sudden, in one day, I went from having like multiple assignments, a trip to interview the cast of The Quiet Place 2 in New York, a trip to Cabo planned for some other stuff. Everything just came to a crashing halt.
Wow.
And like so many people, I think my first reaction was wine.
Of course.
And then I slept in the closet for a few nights, crying to myself,
Oh my
like, how's this going to happen?
goodness.
I know. I
Yeah.
wish that was an exaggeration. I didn't sleep in the closet. I spent enough time in the closet over the years. But I did curl up in a ball in my closet once and was just like, poor me. But then, you know, like just like everybody in this studio right now, I'm a fighter. You know,
Yes.
I am not somebody who just lies down and takes it unless that's what I'm in the mood.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, this is,
my
I'm on
Wait a minute, Jay. Where are we going with this?
Exactly.
Where are we going with this?
See, and that, of course, is the moment the sidekick kicks in.
Right.
Marcus Johnson. So listen, so after the dust settled and I was like, okay, pick yourself up, dude. This is not just going to come back. This pandemic's going to last a while. I was getting a few calls, filling a few of interview opportunities with clients asking me if I could set up like an Instagram live setup.
Right.
And I'm like, where am I going to do that? I'm like, oh, I have a basement. Like, how many houses in California even have a basement?
Right.
That's what I
true.
said.
That's
true.
like
This is
unheard of.
amazing.
This is some old Midwest, like
Right.
I know.
Yeah,
We're ready
you
for a
don't-
tornado.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
Dorothy could go flying by, the wizard, all
You
of
know
that.
what?
We'll
With
safe in our-
2020, we'll never know. You know,
our Pasadena basement. So I came down here to do those Instagram live videos for that. Well, really, it was just one that started the whole thing. And I started to see in these cutouts, and any of you who are just listening right now, the studio has these back set monitors behind the desk that we're at. They were all here. I didn't engineer this or that.
oh
It
Wow.
was, it was
Really?
built like that.
It was made for you.
It was
Exact-
meant
was-
to be.
It's calling. It wasn't black like it is now
Yeah.
to lose them. They used to be white, and the people I bought this house from back in 2018, I think we're calling it reading nooks. I'm like, maybe if you got a little
Really?
springboard or something, I don't know how to get up there.
Wow.
But so I thought, gosh, it just was a vision. It was a moment that hit me that, you know, having grown, you know, my career for the last 20 years has been in media. So I've been around studios all the time with KTLA and CNN, and so I knew this space could be something.
Right.
And I called my dear friend, partner in crime, Ed. Shout out to Ed C.
Shout out to Ed.
Oh,
Shout out
yeah.
to Ed.
Our connection, because
Right.
full circle.
Shout out to
everybody.
Ed.
My
Sia.
Filipino brother.
Exactly. My brother from another
love Ed.
mother
Yes.
introduced
We
me to
love
my
Ed.
new family here.
Yeah.
The I Survived 2020 gang. So I called Ed and I said, Ed, I got a crazy idea. I want to totally like invest in turning my basement into a proper recording studio for podcasts, but from a perspective that we really care about video, because video is where I
Right.
made my name. Like I came up in video, and yet I love podcasting, and I thought, could we do it? He came and looked at the space. There used to be a pole right here, which has a scar on the floor. For anybody who is listening right now, a giant support beam was in the middle of what would have totally been in the way of this studio. So I had to have it re-engineered and bring
That's
people
amazing.
in. So
And look at this.
over the course of about 4 months, I turned, this was, you know, this paneling wasn't here, nothing. It looked like maybe we'll throw up some pictures right
Yeah,
now.
that
Yeah,
would
we
be
want to see
great.
it.
Show us
We
some
want to see it
pictures.
before and
So
after
you
for sure.
Just like completely transform this space into a state of the art studio.
Yeah.
And prior to that, so you had interest in doing something like that, but did you have any experience in podcasting? Like I know you had done your on-camera work, but had you ever recorded a podcast or hosted a podcast? Like what got you into I want to do a podcast?
Right.
The actual reason was that my two best friends and I, Michelle and Mindy, another shout out to them.
Hey.
They the Friends Some and Then Some gang, that's our podcast. We decided in the spring of 2019 that we were on this trip to my friend Mindy's house out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Gorgeous. It was snowing. We were bonding on that trip. And we said, we got to do something that keeps us tight like this. Because, you know, I'm middle-aged. I'm 44. My girls, we're all middle-aged. We'll leave it at that. We don't want to throw
still
anybody
look
under the
great.
bus. I'm not as young as you kids here in ISURVIVE 2020. But we thought, you know, what's missing is friendship is a solution. It's a healer. It is the grounding thing in my life. And it's where I turn whenever I'm hurting or struggling or joyful or whatever.
Yep.
And so maybe we could start a podcast. We started throwing that idea around, and over the rest of 2019, we developed it. We came up with the incredible name Friends Some and Then Some, which there isn't even a real word.
Friends Some and Then Some.
Threesome. We're like, we're a fun threesome,
That's
but we're
what I
a
was
friend
thinking.
some.
But it sounds so
That's
good.
where it
I
comes
love that
from.
name.
It sounds good. It just
Exactly.
kind
Love
of
that name.
Friends
flows
Some and
off
Then
your
Some.
tongue.
And then
Friends Some and Then
what we
Some.
didn't know is that the acronym is FATS, which my girls love. Friends Some and Then
Then
Some.
Some. That's true,
FATS.
fats.
So we're always talking about how fat we are. Friends Some and Then Some. So
say
yeah,
that.
so that experience, we were recording in a different studio over in Burbank, which
Okay.
I love them too. Like, everybody's been so helpful along the way. But I never thought about starting my own podcast studio until, well, I shouldn't say that. I figured someday we would do our own production just because of our history in production. But it was the finger landed on the fast forward button when the pandemic came. At first, Michelle, one of my co-hosts, and I had talked about, what if we do a mobile studio? Like we make a podcast, we buy an old rig, like some kind of big RV or a bus, could even be a school bus, whatever, you know, like,
Wow.
and we strip out the inside and make a mobble studio
Yeah.
Wow.
that goes from location to location. Still not a bad idea.
That's
right?
That would be
I was
awesome.
like, you should.
Actually,
Hello.
That would be awesome.
Innovative.
Don't say that out loud. Hello.
Hey, everybody,
You
don't
should
tell anybody.
Still
It's patent
explore
that.
doing that idea. Like, as great as this is, too, like,
Imagine.
we live in LA with all these food trucks. You have
Right.
mobile barber shops now.
Right.
They even have a mobile arcade. Have you seen those? There's
No, that's
like,
cool.
it's an arcade now. So yeah, a mobile podcast studio would be like,
And so, like, who knows, you know, at the time, this whole health crisis and what that meant for us and how people were
Yeah.
staying home, safer at home. Well, I could bring my podcast bus over to your home.
Oh,
and
that's
there's no
true.
excuse not to
No
start a
excuse.
podcast.
No excuse.
The actual thinking was we would park at places like the Los Angeles Convention Center when there was a big event,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
RuPaul's Drag Race Convention. Go
Oh, I love
RuPaul.
that.
I know. And have the queens come out whenever
Shut
they can
up.
to do. All right, I'm going to get back on this idea.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This
Yes, you
obviously
should.
Still has
Yes.
some merit. But, you know, money was tight. In order to make this dream come true and this new company, I sold a piece of property that was my baby that I had bought over in Nashville. And, you know, sacrifices had to be made because that's just the year that it was. And so I thought, you know what? I better start a little bit more affordably here in my home, build a podcast studio here, see how that works, and then, you know, build and make a bus into a mobile studio or something. So that's next. We'll do that next.
wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm excited. So, what would you say was the moment where it clicked to you, like, oh my God, this is all happening?
Right. That, what is that called?
The
The mom, yeah, the
aha
aha
moment.
moment. Aha. Well, I will say I've been having a lot of reflective moments lately. Like just recently, not too long ago, when you guys started recording here, just to look at you and you doing what you were doing in front of your gorgeous I Survive 2020 podcast logo in the studio that I built with the energy you guys were bringing to it. I sat back there and was like, huh. I'm pretty, like, I'm getting goosebumps
me
right
too.
now.
You're like, I
Because
did that, huh?
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't grow up as somebody, I grew up in Barstow, California. I talk about that all the time because it's good to know you can make it out. Sorry, Barstow, you're fine. But I did not, you know, always think anything I want to set my mind to, I can do. Like I've always believed that. I was taught that growing up, but oftentimes I've thought, you know, we grew up, oh, you could be president if you want. No, I can't.
Right.
I didn't go to Harvard. I'm not from one of those families. Like nobody from Barstow is going to be president, not anytime soon. So that's just not real. What is real though, what it turns out is you can make a lot happen with your life. And I've always been so like surprised at the success that I've been able to make, the moderate success I've been able to make. And so when this thought came into my head to do this, I hoped it would work, but not until really recently when we've started regularly recording lots of great podcasts, yours included, have I been like, oh my God, it's happening. Like this is my biggest aha moment.
Yeah. But it's almost like you've been training for this moment or preparing for it your entire life because you've had different steps in your career that led you to this now. And you probably didn't think of it like that while you were producing shows or being
same for you, right? Don't you feel the same way?
Yeah, it just feels like everything is clearer in hindsight, and you look back like, oh, you have that aha moment, like, oh, this is why I was doing this in 2015 because it prepared me for this moment right now.
Yeah, I mean, even when the beginning of the show, when you said he's been an actor, I'm like, oh, they dug deep because I was in one movie.
You still have a credit though.
I know,
That's
up
amazing.
against Amanda, right?
Can we ask you what movie that was?
Yes, it was. This is actually a good story. This is a good example of being spunky. Like, you know, I Survived 2020 is about pivoting when you have to, about being creative, thinking outside the box, and making something happen in the face of like adversity. So after graduating college, I wanted to be an actor. And it wasn't really till I got into it that I realized how bad an actor I am. I didn't go to school to train. It's not me being humble. I'm not a self-deprecating person. I'm fully egocentric. Like I love myself. But I'm a terrible actor. And enough people told me, eventually I got it. But I'm one of those people who, if you tell me I can't do something, I will prove that I can.
Right.
Even if it's one part in one movie, I was going to do it. So this role was something that came from a small like ad in the back of Backstage West or whatever the magazine was back in the day, and it's like student production needs actors to play these small parts. Please show up with several changes of clothes, yada yada. And I just followed it like a T. I was there on time. I showed up with a bunch of outfits, and I don't think they anticipated that somebody would really maybe do it, or maybe the people that are usually responding to these ads are, at a different place in their career than I was. So I was young and hungry, and the director just was like, God, he really was impressed that I showed up.
And followed instructions.
Exactly.
Right.
So I was supposed to just be in the background. That's what the ad was actually for. But because of my, I guess, excitement about it and my following the rules, he said, would you like a line in the movie? And I think I can still remember it if I think about it.
What was that line? What was that line?
And it talk about full circle from earlier, because you were saying like everything led up to this. The role was the MC of a nightclub.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. All of
That's
us.
weird.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, I wasn't Don Dada. I wasn't the promoter. Did I say that right? Don Dada?
Yeah, you said it right.
Yeah. Don Dada. I was the MC of this club, and the actor Jason Priestley, who was from 90210, he was not in the movie. His sister, Justine Priestley, was. She was the star of it. She's from Canada, I think. And she was playing this character. Her name was something Kerrigan. So that's the part I won't remember, but we call her Nancy Kerrigan. Wrong Kerrigan, but the line was, ladies and gentlemen, please put your two hands together, appearing for the first time on stage here at the Nala nightclub, Miss Kerrigan, or whatever it was. Yeah, that was it.
You're a good MC.
No, I'm only good at one thing, and that's being a reporter or someone who's like a or an announcer or someone like that,
But you never know. This
we could have used you at some of the clubs that I used to do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm there. I'm there.
We got R. Kelly in the building right now.
I might do that for free. That's how much I love that.
Right.
That's how much I love that.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? You'll never know. Like with life right now, with what's happening, everything that's unexpected happened.
Right.
So you'll never know. You might be in one great movie. I mean, all you need is your beautiful face, and that's it.
Thank you. I don't know that everybody heard you though. What was that?
Your beautiful face.
Meanwhile, you two are so gorgeous, it's ridiculous. I feel like I go take a little nap on your eyelashes. They look so soft and
Ida
fluffy.
Cosmetics.
I love it. Ranella, it's the goddess face. Rhea brings this.
Shout out to the
classic
ladies.
charm.
Shout out to the ladies.
What magic the two of you have together. I love it.
so
Thank you. This is my
much.
sister, man.
So you tried the acting thing. It didn't work out
Right.
for you.
That might be an exclusive, by the way. I don't know that in all these years, because I've done a few interviews over the years, that anyone's ever asked me about those days.
I saw your
That's
headshot
amazing.
and I was like, wow, he's gorgeous. And then your hair
Right.
was like, it still is perfect, but I'm just like, who looks
It's
like that
it's
in
perfect. It
real
just starts a
life?
little farther back on my head.
Stop it.
It's just creeping back.
Don't worry. I got someone
It's not
for that.
the perfect hairline.
You have
Like,
something
it's like this.
I got my friend. Shout out to Emerald, who's dermatologist. I got you.
There you go.
Hey.
There you go.
I got you.
So you said the acting thing isn't for me, although you went and
Right.
got your MC credit.
Right.
How
Yeah.
did you end up kind of transitioning and getting into
News?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the media. It was well, I went to UCSB, and my first job ever in anything media oriented was this internship. I was 19, and ABC has a small affiliate station in Santa Barbara called KEYT that services the Tri-Counties there, San Luis Obispo, Ventura, and Santa Barbara County. And so I was I got my foot in the door as an intern, showing up at 4 a.m. every day to run prompter for like the 5:30, 6:30, like the morning broadcasts.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I was like, oh, I'm going to be in the media. This is what I wanted. I went to college to be in journalism, to be I was a communications major, and I wanted to study broadcast media. And that internship was so hard that by the time it was done, I was like, I love you, media. Thank you. I will go be an actor. That seems way easier.
This beautiful face needs to
Right.
be
So
somewhere
I
else.
went to Hollywood. I did that one part, and Hollywood was like, no, thank you. And so I'm like, what am I going to do? And then because this is what happened. I was sitting on my balcony, 1420 North Alta Vista, across the street from Rock and Roll Ralph's. Anybody in LA, shout out to Rock and Roll Ralph's. I was sitting out there on my balcony drinking a Corona, looking up at the moon like I did. And over my shoulder, through the window, the TV monitor came on, and it was Jules Asner getting wild on the French Riviera on E, the network. Have you ever heard of this show? Wild On? It was a...
No.
Okay, well, I'm dating
I think I
myself.
remember that show.
This
I
was
think I
from the
remember.
late 80s, I think, early 90s. This was, it was 99 or it was 90s. So I was like, what job is that? She's like a reporter because she's herself. She's
Right.
using her own name, but she's not covering. The reason that news gig was so hard was I didn't realize how emotional I would be being the first to learn about really tragic news stories. That was why it was so hard.
And how do you deliver?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even as an intern just running the prompter, I would get so emotional seeing the names of families that died on airplanes together
That's
and stuff.
traumatizing.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm a sensitive kid. And so I was, that's not for me. So full circle, seeing Jules in that moment, I'm like, so she's reporting, she's herself, but she's only covering a really cool story. She's not having to cover murder, mayhem, news, crime, blood.
Right.
And I thought, that's the job I want.
You're
what is
like,
that
I could
job?
do this one.
Yeah. Entertainment reporter.
Right.
It's
Yep.
like, oh, I never thought about that. Host, on-air personality. Like that whole world had never been even taught to us in
And it
college.
wasn't that big. It wasn't as big
Right.
then as it is now.
Yeah.
Right? Almost no news story. Almost no one had entertainment reporters.
Right.
Like LA, there's only a few markets, which actually is part of my story too. I was so set on being an entertainment reporter that I couldn't put a tape together and go to Yuma
Yep.
or Boise or Tallahassee or
You
wherever.
had to be in a major
I had to be in a
market.
major
Right.
market. So how was I going to
And
do that?
that's a
Yeah.
difficult task in itself because nobody really starts in major markets. They always tell you go
Go
to
do
Boise
this.
first and then
100%.
build your
Yeah.
resume up and go back to LA.
Sure. And I actually recommend that too because I don't know that I did it the right way. I really was thrown to the wolves. I will never forget. I was an intern at KTLA. I was not even supposed to be an intern because I'd already graduated college.
Right.
But I met this. This is something too. For anybody out there who has a community, use your community to get ahead. I'm gay. I use the gay community to get ahead. You know how? I showed up to parties. I shook hands with people. I met the Velvet Mafia, and I asked for favors.
I love that.
One of them introduced me to a producer at KTLA. That guy
Right.
said, yeah, you can shadow me. Within a few weeks, I was like learning how to do his job. Within 2 or 3 months, he was taking days off, asking me to be the fill-in. So I got my social security number in at KTLA, started getting
Oh my
paid.
goodness. That's
not a
amazing.
lot,
Now you're getting
not a
paid
lot, but a little bit,
But
yeah.
something, right?
And then that is where my career started. My first interview was with Johnny Depp.
Wow.
I was
Very first interview was with Johnny Depp.
well,
How nervous.
literally that day, the first interview was Penelope Cruz, and then Johnny was second. And Johnny, listen to me,
Yeah, we're on first.
Were you
Johnny,
scared?
old pirate, and I, and then Pee Wee Herman was part of that movie. The movie was Blow. It came out in 2000.
Oh my God, that's one of my
About-
favorite. That's one of my favorite movies.
It's
That's
a
a great
great
That's
movie.
movie.
amazing.
Great movie.
The director was Ted Demme. God bless his soul. He passed away, or Jonathan? Which one? Oh gosh, I'm a terrible entertainment reporter. The point is, he's not with us anymore. But Paul Rubens and who else was part of that day? Ray Liotta, Penelope, and the reason that I think my career took a little boost at that moment was because when that was asked of me, I was freaking terrified.
I'm sure. I was going to say,
my
were you
heart
scared,
was
nervous?
beating out of my chest. I was 22.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
I just graduated college. Now I'm got my foot in the door at this very big and powerful local news station, but it was still a local news station. And I was asked to do this thing because in that world, it's like, who's here? Who can do it? Let's go, you know?
And you were there, ready and available. Because that doesn't happen. You don't
Timing.
hear about people starting in a large market and then having your first interview is like with A-listers.
Right,
Yeah.
That
right.
doesn't happen.
You're making me feel really good, actually. I hadn't thought about it like that probably because I was so afraid that get this too. This is how green I was. I still have that tape. When I look back on that tape, I was wearing my blue shirt. I was all excited. I bought it just for the day. And the first thing I do is I sit down, and the crew running the room, the way that junkets work, if anybody doesn't know, is a celebrity sits in a hotel room and other people from the press just rotate around them all day long, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. When each new person comes in, nowadays, they're all boomed, microphone-wise. So you don't have to worry about being, clipped in with the cord and all that. Well, the lav mic of that day, he was like, "Are you on camera?" That was his first question. And I couldn't lie. I should have lied. I was like, "No, I'm just a producer." I wasn't even a producer. I was like, "I'm an intern." I just said no. And he's like, "All right, clip." And he just clipped that mic to my shirt.
gosh.
So I'm my baby blue, like Dior. I don't even know who made that shirt, but it
He
was.
still
Oh no, I was
remembers.
22. It was like definitely from Goodwill. But that cord was just right across the front of my shirt. Like for my whole interview with Johnny Depp, all of my cutaway shots is me with a giant microphone cord hanging from my shirt,
That's amazing.
which is talk about full circle. One of the
Right.
programs I'm planning to produce out of the studio here is called. Working title is Celebrity Reporter 101, and it's an educational series all about how
great.
other people who want to be a reporter, especially a celebrity reporter, here's what you need to know. Rule 1, always lie and tell them you're on camera and hide that microphone cord because you don't want your big interview with Johnny Depp to look like you're a total amateur.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
I haven't
amazing.
thought about that in years. But yeah, that is what that show is going to be about. Just lessons like
That's a
all
great
the
show.
time.
And I'm sure there's so many, especially in this market, but just worldwide, there's so many people that want to tap into this industry who
Right.
are similar to you, where it's like, I want to be in entertainment, but I don't know if
How-
my acting is.
And it's a
good
great,
enough.
it's a
Yeah.
great way to give back too. It's just a way to
Right.
give back. So that's what.
Oh, like an educational
Yeah,
series? Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, no. I'm fully doing it to make money and to get famous. I don't care about giving back.
This time it's to make money.
Give it
I'm
back.
just kidding.
But you know how you said earlier, you were like, I don't even know if I was doing things the right way. But if you think about it, what is the right way? Especially in the entertainment business, we have our own path. Like for us, this is a full circle as well. I'm back into my circle with my core people that I've worked with from over like
For
10
years,
ago.
for
Yes.
years.
Right.
And just building something like what you guys are doing, who knows where it's going to go, right?
Right.
We're setting it all up so you can have, we want to set ourselves up for success. But this could, in 10 years, I might be turning on our TV and we're looking at I Survived 2020 there, like,
Right.
The View.
Right.
Who knows? But you set yourself up for
Yeah, put
success by
that out
putting you
there.
in the
Yes.
way of
Keep
opportunity.
putting it out there, JD. I love it. I love it. Coming from you, I want to hear more. Give me more. Give me more.
You'll never know.
By the way, I need to pivot here a little bit. Look at our sidekick over here in
Yes.
the green room.
I am the sidekick just here, enjoying it. I just want to, give a shout out and a thank you to JD for opening up this beautiful production space and giving us an opportunity. This is obviously my first podcast. Rhea and Ranella obviously have a long career in radio and red carpet hosting and everything. I've always been behind the scenes, so this is my opportunity to kind of be kind of part of the show, but in the background. Right. I like being in the background.
Oh, it's perfect. Are you kidding? Who doesn't love the sidekick? Look at all the shows. Jimmy Fallon, they all have these great sidekicks that just chime in, make the really smart, funny quip, and then chime in.
Yeah, just real quick and witty, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I have my couch, and
right.
You got the best seat in the house.
Yes, absolutely.
So basically, I didn't realize till this is another lesson I learned. You know when they talk about that lucky break, you don't always realize it's happening when it's happening. Yeah. And I didn't realize getting my foot in the door at KTLA the way that I did, totally like under the radar, off the records. This is pre 9/11, so this was nothing could have happened the way it happened for me, even like 2 years later. It would have been completely impossible because of how strict that everybody got. But in the beginning, I was just sneaking in there, pretending like I own the place, learning everything I could, and I recommend that to everybody. The best thing to do when you decide on a career is to go find a way to work at that career for free. Yes. Be paid an experience.
Right. Exactly. That's how I feel too. Exactly. That's when I first met Rhea, I was an intern for the radio because me pursuing music, I wanted to learn everything because I was really shy. Most artists are really like introverts. So I came in, I was like, oh my God, I don't know anyone. And she was very friendly, very nice. And then we became friends. And fast forward, I got to learn and, I got to be more ready to talk to people and, like you said, politic and get to know people. And I didn't care if I was like interning at a radio station once a week and didn't get paid. But look at where we're at now.
There's no rule book.
Right.
There's no route. There's no one that says, here's the map to success.
There's no, your show, the new show that you have, may give us a little bit of map to get into this.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny about that? And this is something that, we can talk about too as you're developing more programming and shows or other people that might want to start a show. So much about starting a good podcast from the research that we've done and what we're learning is you want to be really niche, right? You want to be really deep in a topic that someone might be searching for, but not try to be spread too thin.
Right.
Be really deep. And so I was like, how do I use all these interviews that I've saved over the years? How do I use all these interviews in a meaningful way? Because they're old. This interviews, like Halle Berry was still with Eric when I was interviewing her for Gaudica or whatever that was. Or going through a rough time with him, actually. I think she told me she's like, pops an out of and gets in there anyways.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Just because of how stressful that marriage was for her. I don't know why I'm talking about that, but I love you, Halle Berry. I love you, and I hope that you...
And Eric, you've had a conversation with her.
Right.
A few over the... Well, you know what it is. It's after a decade at CNN working the red carpet scene, you get it was just a privilege and an honor. And I did things that no boy from Barstow should be able to do.
And I'm sure you got to a point with a lot of these celebrities where you were like on first name basis, like when you're at every red carpet, it's just like, oh yeah, there goes JD. That's my guy right there.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. No, they talk to hundreds of people every single time they're on a carpet. But I will tell you one story about someone very, very famous who does remember my name and has always made me feel like, incredibly special. Brad Pitt. So I interviewed him for whatever reason. It just came up a lot over this course from like Troy and to Inglourious Bastards to like all over these years. And I'll never forget the first time that he came on a red carpet, and I was, they have the national crews there, Entertainment Tonight, Access, Extra, and then the big global news agencies are usually next on the line, AP, us, CNN. And he came down, out of his mouth, Mr. Cargill.
Oh,
wow!
I about shit my pants. I have never been so like
caught off guard.
Right.
I was like, what? You remember my name, but then you're not supposed to show that because I'm supposed to be a professional.
Right.
And so I was like, Mr. Pitt.
How do you not show that? That's
Yeah,
Brad
oh
Pitt.
my God.
That's Brad
I would
Pitt.
have been like, yes. Yes, Brad.
Where? I'm trying to remember what that led into because so like Benjamin Button, that premiere, he showed up in a tuxedo. It was a very fancy premiere because of that weird connection. Angelina at the time and he were together and they were, she wasn't doing press. She was there to support him. His parents were there supporting him, but he was doing the press line as everyone was kind of like waving, taking pictures. But he said, he nudged her to go over, talk to him. And so she came over and
So
talked
you
to me
spoke
with
with
the
her
parents.
too?
Yes,
Oh my goodness!
I know.
Wow.
So over the course of your career, you literally have interviewed thousands.
Thousands of celebrities. Yeah.
Is
that's
there
true.
any celebrity that you can have like
Yes.
that you can talk about?
Yes. I know that I've
give
been
us
asked.
give us the most like interesting interview that you've had that you're like, oh my goodness.
Okay. So see, I shouldn't have cut you off because
There
you're
you go.
asking about what was the most interesting interview. I was thinking you were going to ask, is there someone who I always wanted to interview that didn't get to? The answer to that question is Oprah, just for now.
I love her.
Okay.
Yes, one day you'll never know.
Oprah, where's my camera? Oprah, if you're listening to this podcast, which I know you are,
She better be.
call me. Come on in. Bring in Gail. I watch her every morning. I'm such a fan. So, and then Michael Jackson too, who unfortunately passed before I never got to talk to him. So, but Cher, Barbara Streisand. Okay, am I just coming across totally gay? Like all the people I'm listening, I'm like, oh God, these are all the gay icons. So they've all been those. Sometimes the best interviews happen because, you're a professional. You have to put that professional stance in first. You have to be a professional. But when you're a real fan, it comes through your pores and they can't help but feel it. Like, and I sat down with Cher and for the movie Burlesque with Christina Aguilera. So it was just a great day in general. I wore a sweater. It was my Cher sweater. I still have it. I might frame it. And I just went in with this energy and you can just tell it's like, oh, this person's really a fan. This is going to be a fun interview. That's at least how I imagine that she was thinking, because it went amazingly well. And so many times the best interviews of my career have been where I was genuinely and authentically excited about the person and or the project that they were working on.
Nice.
That's
So
amazing.
at what point in your career, like you spoke about that very first interview that you had with Johnny Depp where you were just like terrified and nervous. At what point throughout these thousands of interviews were you like, I got this?
Oh, God, that's a good question. I don't know if I've ever truly felt that way. I feel like if I ever said that, I might get complacent and then I will get sloppy and lazy.
Yeah.
And, say what you will about like the way I got my foot in the door at KTLA. It was a great place to learn. God bless his soul. Hal Fishman, the late great anchor, he became a mentor to me while I was there.
Nice.
And he let me know so much about the journalism industry. He taught me so much about what I know. So did Mindy Burbano. Oh, Mindy Stearns. She's now my co-host on Friends of Then Some, but ended up becoming one of my life's best friends. But when I started, she was the entertainment reporter at KTLA, and she took me under her wing in an industry that is filled with competition and not always being helpful to those trying to get ahead because you worry they're going to compete with you one day. She didn't care. She just did everything she could to help me. From my very first stand-up on the red carpet for the film Memento with, what was the actor's name? The Australian actor. Yell it out from engineering if you know it. Guy Pearce, thank you.
Guy Pearce.
And to this day, I came up with this clever idea of the movie is about a guy who's kind of living life in reverse. It's a great movie, and it's just hard. It's a time movie, and it's about memory. And so I went on the red carpet with Mindy's help. My first stand-up, like physically shaking. She's like, just take a deep breath, calm down, look at the camera, act like it's a friend of yours, smile with your eyes, and say what you're going to say. And I said, my name's J.D. Cargill, and I'm on the red carpet here at the world premiere of
Oh my God.
Memento. It's about a guy who can't remember.
Oh my
And it was supposed to be clever, and it was like,
awesome.
it landed so flat. And then he was like,
Awkward.
oh, I get it. It's cute. Okay, we'll try that again. So that was, in the beginning of any person's career who wants to be a reporter or on camera, at least in the traditional news environment, you start off doing those very scary stand-ups to get that first tape put together. So that first tape can go out and hopefully get you a job in Yuma. Poor Yuma, picking on them. But I couldn't go that route because there weren't a lot of entertainment departments at the news stations. So my lucky day was getting in at KTLA, and then the guy who I was shadowing, he got a job on reality TV as a show that went away. It's called Big Borrow and Deal on ESPN. I don't know if you ever saw that. Doesn't matter. All I know is he got cast. He was so excited to do it. The station gave him approval, and then 9/11 happened. Everything got pushed back. If you guys remember those days, everything stopped. Entertainment news stopped dead in its tracks. Nobody was concerned about what movies were coming out back then. And because that happened, it pushed his start date for that reality show. Because that happened, it put him in sweeps. And the station said, you cannot go. We cannot let you off during sweeps. And he said, I'm going to go, even if it means I lose my job. And who was right there? By the name, that guy's name is JB.
Oh, Oh,
So JB out,
goodness.
So
JD in.
JD was like,
Just slid right in, and I never looked back. And spent another 3 or 4 years at that station before my second big lucky break, which was CNN scooping me up.
Crazy.
wow.
Yeah, I was really lucky.
So, is there any celebrity or any person that you were like, oh my God, this person might be a diva or scary to interview, that you were like, oh, wait a minute, this person is actually.
Well, Renella Ferrer.
Oh, thank you.
I was worried that she would be a diva, but I was
oh my
wrong.
gosh. No. I'm like,
No, you're not a diva.
I'm
You're beautiful enough to be a diva, but
thank
you don't act like that, which I love.
not at all.
Yeah, it's very easy to get in your head when it comes to the issue of fame, right? Fame is a weird thing. Like people are, celebrities are oftentimes known and not known. Like you think you know who they are, but you never really know unless you talk to other friends in the business and stuff, which I ultimately did later. But in the beginning of my career, I would show up just really expecting one thing and totally getting another. And sometimes it was super disappointing because I was so invested in who I thought this person was.
Right.
I will not say any names here because I do want to be respectful of everybody. I was trying to think of a fun name I could throw out as a joke, but I can't this quickly. But what I discovered was really the best thing to do in every situation is just what you do with anybody who isn't famous. You don't go in with preconceived ideas. You just go in prepared to do what your job is, and then hope. Hope they're responsive to it. Hope that they are, cool, not going to give you a hard time.
Right.
And just count on your preparation to make a killer interview.
Right.
And so you landed at CNN, which is a huge, one of the most reputable. I put CNN right up there, like with McDonald's, as far as like their logo. Like that's one of those brands that's like everybody knows.
Widely recognizable.
Widely recognizable brand, especially as it pertains to like news media. It's as big as it gets. So you land this job there.
Yes, terrified as well because I came up as a producer.
Right.
And CNN, even that job was kind of primarily as a producer. I had worked, Mindy, who I mentioned at KTLA, she had a fill-in, she took a vacation and had a fill-in reporter. Her name was Sabila Vargas. Shout out to Sabila. I am, by the way, the world's biggest feminist. Like I am big on female power. I think that it's ridiculous that women aren't paid as much, that the opportunities aren't there.
Amen.
I agree.
You are better people usually, and the world should be run by women, in my opinion. But
Shout out to our host too.
Shout out to Rhea and Renella. So she ended up she was filling in, but she ended up becoming the like senior entertainment reporter for CNN, and it was because of her that like 400 people applied for that job, my little job, and it was just to be her producer and an entertainment producer in the unit. But because of my on-air aspirations, I was able to talk to my executive producer at the time, who was hiring. I said, "Can we make this boy's biggest dreams come true? And can we talk about a hybrid role between me being a producer that makes packages and does everything a producer does, but also, works towards my on-air career?" And they were able to offer me to be an entertainment reporter on CNN.com Live. Which back in the day, it was kind of before its time, because now it's all streaming.
That's so true.
Everything is streaming.
Exactly.
Now.
And now that actual entity isn't even here anymore.
Wow.
But that is where I got to start to sharpen my skills on camera, my live skills. And then because of all of that Johnny Depp interview, by the way, that ended up going really well. And so the news director at the time at KTLA just said, "JD's doing junkets now." And so I just started
doing all the junkets.
Exactly.
Right.
So I came to CNN with that experience and those contacts and being sort of the liaison with the motion picture industry. And because of that, because I was doing so many celebrity interviews, it just sort of naturally transitioned to more and more on air time and online, and then on headline news, and every now and then on the mothership. But CNN, if anybody knows, is primarily a politics and breaking news network. They don't do a ton of entertainment news. But yeah, that's how I got in. And then 10 years went by, and there was a whole chapter between this. That was the ArcLight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, Renella. I know I look 25, but I'm actually
I'm sorry.
26.
My bad.
No, So I took what I learned at CNN and KTLA, and I pitched them this idea. What if we book interviews with these famous people who clearly love the cinema about their latest, greatest project? We package it, and then we give audience goers some added value with their ticket, that it's like a DVD featurette, but on the big screen. So just sit in your seat, sit through the credits, because anybody who loves film like I do listens to the whole score. The whole movie doesn't end until the movie is over.
Yep.
And so I thought, what if we give people who really love movies a little gift with purchase at the very end? Stay in those seats. The screen goes to black, comes back up, and it's me interviewing the filmmaker.
That was
so
a brilliant
amazing.
idea. That was a
Thank
good
you.
idea.
I've actually stayed and listened. The whole added value thing, first of all, you were before your time with that. You're like
Really?
top notch. And I feel like
Yes.
at CNN or at the ArcLight, it's just like the level of treatment you've given us. You've always been very courteous.
The level of
explain
professionalism
things
is
extremely
top notch.
professional.
Top notch.
And I just feel so blessed to have the
Yes.
opportunity to work with somebody of your caliber who's just
Oh,
accomplished
gosh.
so
Okay.
much. I mean, you're bumping elbows with Halle Berry.
Right.
I don't know
Johnny
if I could top that.
Brad
You guys
Pitt
want a funny
remembers
Halle
your
Berry story?
name.
You guys want a funny Halle Berry
Yes.
story
Yes.
here? Well, I know I can feel the rap coming.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna end some humor.
We
here.
might have to do a part two.
Part
Oh,
two,
hey, why
Jake.
not? Hey, but here's what's fun. Next time I come back, I will come back equipped with some clips. So when I'm mentioning
There we
these
go.
things, and maybe in post-production we'll even show some of this stuff. But before she was an Oscar winner, before long time ago, remember when Swordfish came out?
Yeah.
And Halle Berry had decided to do a topless scene in that movie. I don't know if you remember. I happened to be interviewing Whoopi Goldberg for a different movie called Rat Race. And a big headline had come out that Halle Berry had just won an Emmy for playing Dorothy Dandridge in a television film. And now that she was an Emmy Award winner, she felt confident that she could bare her breasts on screen because she was being taken seriously in Hollywood. So I came in armed with that story to ask Whoopi Goldberg what her thoughts were on the matter. And I said, she goes, let me get this right. She said that because she won an Emmy, that she could now go and show her tatas on the big screen. And then without missing a beat, Whoopi leans in and says, Lord help us if that bitch wins an Oscar.
And sure enough.
Fast forward, exactly.
Sure
Fast
enough.
forward, and I'm like, what's next?
Your Whoopi impersonation is pretty good. I need to get back into acting.
I maybe have told that story over the years every time. Then here's the funniest part. I follow up because, we're reporters, and so we always ask a follow-up question. Well, just out of curiosity, Whoopi, what would it take for you to bear all on the big screen?
Right.
She said, child, there isn't enough screen. Something like that. And I was just, it's one of those moments in the very first part of my career that I remember looking back and thinking, those are the moments I was falling in love with it.
Yeah.
Because above everything, above like the glitz and glamour of Hollywood and that exciting part of it, when you work as an entertainment reporter, you're oftentimes working with people who are living their dream, like across a lot of levels that a lot of people would love to be doing. And so you're in the presence of this really sort of powerful energy of success and, self-awareness and talent and creativity. And so I was hooked because that Rat Race junket with Whoopi, that was still year one. Like that, if you look back on IMDb, I bet that's a 2001 or 2002 film because I was in the very beginning of my career. So, and I was like shaky and just a mess all the time back then, but somehow it still happened.
That's so great.
Right. And you know what? Your light is still the same. I don't know how it was then, but I feel like you still have that same passion, that same energy exuding out of you. And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And you're allowing us to, shine our light that we've had inside. Rhea, like I said, I'm getting goosebumps because Rhea is one of the reporters, hosts, MCs that I've looked up to, and she was my friend, and I've always pushed her. And being here, I'm so proud. This is really like an aha moment for me. I'm like, oh my God. And the couple that I look up to, because I'm still single, but I'm dating someone right now. We'll see. We'll see. I hope he makes it. Please, let this be the one, Lord.
Oh, Jesus, please. Let's all just pray.
Let's all pray on it after this. You're gonna pray on it.
I hope he's listening right now. He's blushing and making sure your dreams come true.
Sets and production. So that's why I was like, next time we can have him come here, help you build the set. Thank you. We need some lighting here, there, right?
Bring him in.
Yeah, there you go.
Bring him in. We could use the help.
Yes, so I'm just grateful because like the light of everyone is, something that you are bringing back to the table right here.
Yeah.
right
That means a
now.
lot to me. Thank you.
No, you're definitely you've given us this great opportunity, and I just listened to your journey and everything that you experienced and went through to get to this point, and believe it or not, your journey is helping us.
Yes.
Yes.
So
That's awesome.
And it's just
that's
the
a full
beginning.
circle,
Right.
and it's
That
just
is
the
awesome.
beginning.
It's just the beginning.
just the beginning.
Right.
It's
I
just the
know,
beginning.
right. We're going to look back on this moment
Yeah.
in a
Right.
few
Just the
years. Like,
beginning, yeah.
Remember the
We're
first
gonna
day?
be like, what?
No, I'm
So,
married to this
so
one.
where do you see Mod Pod Studios in, say, 5 years from now?
Still in my basement. No, just kidding. Well, actually, the plan, as I've told you guys before, because I'm doing a whole, so many of us during the pandemic have decided to just do all those jobs on our houses, all the construction, all the projects. We're going to be stuck at home anyways. We might as well make it great. And because of where this studio is physically located on the property, and because of the way the property is laid out, there's potential for me to create these like podcasting pods outside that are little destination areas that we can wire in and mic up and have video lines coming in. And so in 5 years, I hope to have sort of a little bit of a podcast, a list of shows that are recording here that I absolutely love and believe in, with people like yourselves who I just absolutely love and believe in. And so busy, though, that we have multiple pods going.
You went from reading pods to podcast
Exactly.
pods, right?
There you
That's
go.
amazing.
Yeah. And then the mobile idea, hopefully that will come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
and
let's talk off
talk
air
about
about
it.
that.
Yeah,
'Cause,
this has been there.
I feel
I
like
need
it-
in on that one.
I feel like that idea has legs. I really
Yes,
do.
for sure.
Amazing.
So in 5 years, and maybe have a kid or two. I don't know. We'll see. George, are you listening?
George.
I'm a little bit older than my significant
That's
other,
okay.
and so he is, like when I was 32, 33, I didn't want to have kids either. So we're slowly pushing him.
Yeah, just
Right.
baby steps.
I'm working with
baby
mom,
steps.
working with sister. Push him up. He wants his baby because this man does not want to be 80 at his kid's high school graduation. Please, I want a story.
Right.
Like your story right now.
Yes, amazing.
So I have same dreams most people do,
Yeah.
So hopefully in 5 years I'll be married, got a kid, and have a podcast empire.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
Boom,
right.
boom.
Absolutely.
Where are you all gonna be in
That's
5
great.
years?
We'll be right here with you.
married.
You'll probably have your own studio by then.
I'll be married.
The
Hopefully.
ISURVIVE2020, that's TWENTY, not 20s.com.
Right.
Empire will continue to grow and blossom. And so much of what you said and so much of what this is all about is about just putting yourself in the space of positive energy and putting that back out into the world.
Yep.
And if we all do that, I think that what has been a very dark period, 2020, for a lot of reasons, could actually end up being something that in history books we look back on as the great
Greatest,
bounce or the great
Yeah.
pivot or the great wake up call, across all
the
of
great
this.
restart.
Yes, the
I
great
like that.
restart. I
Yeah.
like that. Press
Yeah.
the restart button.
Restart button.
Let's do it.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank
So-
you. Gosh, you guys are
Where can we find Mod Pod on social media?
Mod
website?
Pod is on Instagram at Modern Podcasting. I'm at JD Cargill, just the way it sounds. Modpodstudio.com is our website, and we're not even, wow, who knows when this is going to air, so maybe I won't say that, but we may or may not have launched by the time you hear this. And regardless of that, check us out. Go to the contact page, send me a note, and I will write back.
And this is I Survived 2020 podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
today.
joining us.
Thank you.